Inquiry-based aesthetics. 3 words you probably know if you went to college. But what do they mean together? Inquiry-based aesthetics. In general, we tend to have an image of something that was normative. That society, the man, that some other person created, who we admire, perhaps, or that we're just unconsciously influenced by. Our aesthetics tend to be based on things we've already seen before. It's based on what we've seen before. There's nothing wrong with that. It's how humans work. Monkey see, monkey do. Now the question is how you can use your own awareness to alter the normative social currency, the things that are flowing out there in the world. So this question is itself an inquiry, and it's now this aesthetic that is emerging onto my YouTube channel. It's these questions that we hold in our sacred space that we become united with over years of holding on to questions. They become our self-image. They become our self-imposed things that we bring into the world, these questions of who we are, what we should be doing, what we care about. Those become answered, but not through knowing what the answer is, but by actually doing something. So inquiry-based aesthetics, if you're teaching, if you're educating someone, you ask them, you guide them through questions. You have like a Montessori type playground, sandbox, where they're going to be hanging out in certain places, asking questions, and you're like, what do you think about this? There's 3 colors. What do you like? And bam, 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 things happen. That was a poor example. But the idea here is that as you become a mature artist, you are able to ask targeted specific questions of your material. And then you're able to have innovative new questions that you, because of your intimate relationship, your depth with the material, now you can ask this very innovative question that brings you to a new place. Now, there's 2 primary places that these inquiries can be based. They can be based in the material itself or in your internal process-based world. Less process, more so just your internal world. Now, if it's internal, that's unique to you. It's unique to your individual self. So that's what's meaningful here, is that inquiry-based aesthetics bring you home to yourself. It's not externally based aesthetics. How to make a picture that looks like this picture that's already existed. It's how do you become the person who asks the intelligent question where they can become deeply themselves through this work of art. So this channel is, it's developing my own inquiries about how to teach art in this new world that we live in this old world that's swimming into a future that none of us understand and from a past that none of us fully comprehend. So inquiry-based aesthetics are a small way of reimagining the educational situation, the student of art, the artist themselves. What are they? Are they someone who knows something or someone who asks pointed questions? Someone who observes themselves and their incompleteness and doesn't know and practices this not knowing into form, into action, so that their form doesn't exist as a true thing that they are certain of. It's simply practicing. It's practicing becoming a new form. It's practicing holding space for a new answer to emerge. It's not the final answer. It's a provisional answer. As Terence McKenna said, all of our answers are provisional. We don't know the future. We don't know who we are. So at best, we can hold these questions, move forward with these questions in mind, and live a life of beauty where the image is in the image of the questions, of the questioner, so that yourself, your autonomy comes first. Now, this sounds like a new whiteness where it's whatever. Yeah. However, a new whiteness in that it centers, I'm a white male. I'm Jewish. It's complicated, but yeah, white. If you're centering yourself, isn't there something problematic in there? Yeah, of course. But what about the question? What about the question of who I can become with those sets of postmodern identity-based truths, taking them as useful, and then these sets of other historical cultural norms of art, of creation, of culture, of social norms? How do we take that American democracy that's not Maoist China, that's not, it's killing its own people for a different set of reasons, but nonetheless, it's consciously, subconsciously doing things wrong, unconsciously doing things wrong, but consciously, verbally attempting to do something different that, maybe was always racist, but maybe you had a higher or deeper aspiration. And who knows what the state was in the past. The question, I feel, the most potent question is how we could be recasting that now. And if we're recasting it as for it is and forever always was damned, that's not the question of what if there's an evolutionary purpose? What if we are in a position to make it better than it ever has been? So these sets of this practice of holding on to deep questions, posing them with a great reverence in a specific reference to the material you're working with, wow, that's potent. So in this channel, we're going to have, maybe more organized rambles from me, maybe less organized. We'll have some performances. We will have some very specific techniques of how to get into music, how to ask questions of music and play with music. And, my goal is to support my own understanding, which, is good for me, of course, selfish, just like any being with genetics, going to be selfish on some level, but is ultimately altruistic. I am only here because of all of these incredible teachers that I'm so grateful for, with supportive parents who let me be this way, who let me not study science in college, study science and music and say, shit, gonna go for music. I'm scared. Is this okay? And they were like, yeah, fucking do it. I was more scared for me than they were. So when you have these things to be grateful to, the impetus is to give in kind, because I felt like I was given something. Now I feel like I have to give. It's like reciprocity. Reciprocity is this fundamental tenet of normative social behavior. Is if one person's a certain way, you're like, me too. Monkey see, monkey do. So inquiry-based aesthetics are a way of overcoming that short-circuiting, that bottom-tier neural stuff. There's ways of integrating that into the mind, the improviser, the master, the playful master, the improviser. And there's ways of circumventing that to enter contemplative states, new states that have risks, that have huge risks, and potentially have, potent insights. Asking and holding meaningful questions is the way of arriving at new risks available to you in an art form. So my question is, what happens when I post a YouTube video that's entirely uncensored and unfiltered and whatever? And, we'll see what happens. We'll see what this journey holds. It's an inquiry. It's based. I don't know, that's a meme or something. And it's aesthetic. The aesthetic is lights that are too bright. So we'll see. Over and out.